Hey guys, welcome back to the Firsties podcast. I'm your host MILA.
And I'm your host MILA.
If you're new here, if you're a Firstie,
we're basically a safe space for first gens who dare to dream.
We like to laugh, kiki, argue.
Basically, two baddies with a mic.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Now let's get into this episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Firsties. So as you can see today, it is just little old me. We have some exciting news coming soon on why HERMELLA is not here, but I'm gonna let her announce it and do her thing when she is ready. But it's some pretty exciting news for Firstie and her, honestly. But so you are deeply missed, HERMELLA. But again, she'll be on in the next episode to explain her absence. But today, if you can tell from the title, we're gonna be talking about Delulu girlies versus realistic mindset. Now, when we were coming up with this episode, I almost was thinking like, where do I fall? And have I always been on one camp? And I realized that I haven't. At one point, I was a realistic girly. And I think that stems from being a first gen, where like I'm realizing that being a Delulu girl is, to me, is almost a privilege, right? The simple makings, or the simple needs, I should say, of a human being in my life, and many of you guys who are watching, are met, right? So as far as like food, shelter, water, security, the privilege of choice also, it's definitely a privilege. So when I was coming up with this episode, when we were coming up with this episode, I was actually journaling, and I was like, wow, this is a very, very, like, we're blessed, and this is a very privileged conversation. But I also want to discuss, like, I've seen on TikTok before as well, and on socials, of this Delulu mindset. I know we just like throw that around of being delusional, and many, many people who are very successful, or who are kind of deemed as like genius or outliers, or people look up to them, at one point they were the most delusional person in the room until ish worked out. Of course, they called them crazy or a loser or not cool, or whatever the case is, or it's impossible. So I kind of wanted to exercise this a bit on this episode, because I think we could learn a lot. So to start, I was always a realistic girly, if I'm honest. Was pretty fearful to go after my dreams. Definitely put a lot of weight on what other people would think about me. And what's interesting is I'm learning now that it was actually never what they actually thought. It was just my perception of their perception of me. So it's all wrong. I lost the plot. Let's just start there. I lost the plot. And so because of that, whether it's like fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of judgment, I was more realistic. And part of that probably comes from being a first gen. And we've talked about this on Firstie so many times, but like I just earlier discussed, you know, being Delulu, it really is low key, or high key really, a privilege. It is. And so a lot of first gens out there, they do not have the luxury of being realistic. And so I kind of want to talk about when delusion is like empowering, and then when it's almost like harmful. Because like I mentioned, a lot of first gen girlies out there, and guys, like, can they afford to be Delulu, right? And go after their dreams? Of course, everyone's dreams are valid, but there's many parts of the world where being realistic is almost like survival. And so I definitely want to take a moment for those who might not have the opportunities that a lot of us might have, and kind of hold space for them. Because again, this is a very much a privileged conversation. So I have these notes here that we put together, our producers put together, but are you Delulu or realistic? In this moment right now, I'm definitely more Delulu, and it probably has to do with the fact that all my girls around me are Delulu as well, and it's like birds of a feather flock together, right? Like, we're just Delulu in a corner, just like kikiing as we do. Literally lose track of time truly, if you see us out ever, I sincerely apologize because like nothing else exists. Like, for example, after this, I'm going to a Soul Cycle class, and then I'm meeting up with my cousin Miriam. You guys know her, producer on the show. And I'm so excited to catch up. I have so much to catch her up on. And like that is what I'm looking forward to in my day. So us Delulu girlies, we stick together. So one of the questions here is, what's your most Delulu moment that actually worked out? I would probably say this podcast. Truly, I did not think it was going to be this fun. And the opportunities that are coming our way, and also like the sisterhood and the support that we've gotten, myself, HERMELLA, our team. It really is an example of like, you put in the work, and I mean work, and like everything kind of falls into place. Truly. It honestly amazed me. I'm almost like lost for words. I don't even know what to say, because I'm like, oh wow, like I'm really living in my answered prayers right now. And part of that was like, even in my prayers, I'm a little Delulu, like shoot for the stars, right? Especially for being a faith-based person, like there is absolutely nothing that God is not capable of doing for you. But I've learned that it's a relationship. And so like, go be honest with him and share with him like what exactly you desire and want. And nothing is too big or small. And also nothing is not of importance to him. So like the way I'm Delulu with Jesus, like, hey, this is what I desire. This is what I dream of. This is what I'm working towards. A little help. Like truly. So I think growing up and being more realistic, came from a lot of stuff. Came from me interpreting a message from media, American media, where people that, not a lot, I did have a few examples, but not a lot of people that I would see on TV or in media or in headlines when it comes to business and really breaking new ground, especially for women. They didn't really look like me or came from my country or came from my continent, honestly. So I was like, oh, I guess I need to be more realistic, which a lot of Christians on there, I'm sure some of you guys who are listening, that also included like being realistic with your occupation or your career. So, you know, nursing, doctors, medical, lawyers, EMTs, engineers, truly. And what's funny is I am currently reading a book called The Artist's Way. Shout out to Vic. She's the one who kind of put me on. And it's essentially a spiritual guide or way for any creative, especially if you have like writer's block or anything like that. But it really is basically dissecting how all of us are truly born as creatives. And then the world does what the world does. And there are noise about what people expect of you depending on where you are, your gender, your economic status, all these things, which is actually irrelevant to what you're actually capable of doing. And so then we do the more realistic route. And for some people who are lucky enough to be a little bit more Delulu, I just think it's kind of interesting how in order to really achieve your dreams, how wild they are, and I really do mean like how wild, like shoot for the stars, you do have to be a little Delulu. But I think with social media and TikTok, it's definitely like, I wouldn't say watered down, but like we even have like a slang term for it now where it's Delulu, and it's almost just like cute to say. But there's a real like meaning and privilege behind it, where not everyone in this country, in this world, is able to be delusional for literally like survival, for surviving. And so that's where I think it could be almost like harmful versus like empowering. But then on the flip side, it actually doesn't matter where, like your dreams are valid no matter where you are from, no matter who you are, they are valid. And of course it takes work for sure. Because I also think with social media, we love to have almost like a hashtag or just like a cute saying, and like it ends there, when like part of being delusional is not like it just works out. It's actually like, well, no, it's 15 years of work put in and time missed with loved ones or not seeing everyone on the holidays, whatever sacrifice you have to do to make your dream work. And also part of being delusional is just like being a tad bit scared. That's me though, where I'm doing this, but I would be lying to you if I said I was completely like not afraid or afraid of fear or afraid of rejection, of judgment, of like ish not working out. But then as I'm journaling and going into this journey, and I know we are embracing firsties, that's what literally this show is. And you're going to see a lot of like first time content creators as far as like in their country or in their community. I kind of realized that when I was having a realistic mindset, like, don't piss me off when someone's like, be realistic. It's like, wait, how do you even know my capability or what I'm able to achieve? It's like, let that be my thing to navigate and God's. Like, please get out of my way, really. But what I realized in that journey is I thought maybe I don't just believe in myself. But when you actually boil it down to, and I've talked about this before with HERMELLA and all the girls, I just didn't believe in God. Like, that's what it came down to. And like, I called myself a Christian, but that's really what it was. Because like, if you believe in him and his capability and the compassion and mercy and the strength that he give you and all that, then like, what are you actually afraid of? You know what I mean? Like, I really just had to have a little silent moment for that younger self version of me. And so once I really were able to reframe my brain and also work on my relationship with God, I mean, when I say like, you can't tell me nothing, not really. I'm still able to like, not be realistic, but also like there's a part of being delusional where like you do have to put in the work. It's not just saying that you're going to do it and then not do the work. Truly, it's also leaning on your community. It's also prayer. It's also like time management. That's a thing that I had to learn with this podcast and bringing on a co-host and figuring out our schedules. And it's a lot of planning that goes into it as well. But at a certain point, it's like all I think about is this podcast. Truly, genuinely, at any given moment, at every given moment in the day, I'm quite literally thinking about this pod and this show and just Firsties as a brand and how we could elevate it and make it better. And which is why when this popped up on our social media and it's kind of trending now, I was like, oh, this is a good time to kind of talk about the Delulu girls and the realistic mindset. Now, is Delulu really just positive thinking? I mean, I think it is, but also I think there's action behind it as well. Because again, if anyone's like, you need to be more realistic, they're honestly projecting their shortcomings onto you. Or maybe the fact that you are so fearless in whatever you wanting to achieve, it's a mirror that you're holding up to them as far as what they're either envious or they're like, man, I wish I was that fearless. And so I don't knock those people. That could be a family member, that could be a friend, and a lot of it comes from they just don't want to see you hurt or anything like that. But I don't know why when you say be realistic, I'm just like, ugh. Like, who are you? Honestly. Like, leave that. I just hate when people get in the way of what God might be trying to do in someone's life. And you don't know if, like, everyone is needed in this world and you don't know what gift or talent or whatever product or whatever they're doing that's going to help the world or just one person. Because obviously it's worth it. So, with being Delulu. Now, I've seen a lot of conversations on social media when it comes to like relationships and like Delulu girlies and all that stuff and dating and stuff. which I don't really understand. But when does it work? When does being delusional works? Really, I think it works when it comes to like increasing your confidence. We've all talked about like fake it till you make it. Truly, 80% of the work is just showing up. The 20% is really just being prepared and knowing your ish, basically. Also, it helps with like getting out of survival mode. Like when I started to become delusional, and that really just it boils down to just believing in my dreams and like genuinely dialing in and focusing on that. I realized that I was getting out of survival mode, meaning like, oh, wait, as a first gen, you internalize this message that because you just see your parents really only survive more than like thrive sometimes. And I just mean in this country, because trust me, my parents are thriving overseas, but in this country. And so you're like, oh, okay, that's my job. It's almost like you put this armor on, like, okay, got the message. That's what I'm here to do as well. When then it's like, well, no, like, again, your dreams are valid and you should be able to not be on survival mode and to actually like thrive and enjoy your life if you are blessed to, truly. Again, this is a very, very privileged conversation. And then I also learned that with being delusional, you are literally creating new opportunities. Like things that it's actually insane. This would be a 10-hour podcast if I actually got into like real examples, but I could name 5 examples off the top of my head of things that I just didn't even think it was possible. I didn't know how to ask for this because I literally didn't even think it was possible. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you are talking to your creator or whomever or whatever you believe in, ask for literally everything. Anything is possible, truly. I journal, talk to my girlfriends, however you do it, whatever that process is, because you are literally creating new opportunities, truly. I really, with Firsties, we always talk about, it's not about, like, nothing is impossible. It just truly hasn't been done. Maybe attempted, but not done. And wouldn't it be great to be the first? Hashtag Firsties. That was a plug. Okay. When doesn't it work? So sometimes I think with being Delulu, we're romanticizing toxic relationships where it's either we're idolizing certain characteristics in people or even in media it's just harmful and unproductive. Truly, and we sometimes are dating our imagination. I've talked about that on, I think, Maya's cooking show. I'll add the link in the description if you guys want to go watch that. That's when it can be a little bit dangerous. Also, being delusional, you can sometimes, it leads to like financial recklessness. Again, we've talked about this as a privileged conversation. And so, moving somewhere with a dream and absolutely no plan or no connect might not be the best option. It still could work out. Now, again, I'm not saying be realistic, but be sure to put that work in. And then also being Delulu can lead to ignoring your intuition, right? So it's okay if your goals or your dreams change by the hour, by the day, by the year, based on that intuition that might guide you to keep you in a safe zone, if that makes sense. Because for example, I did a little bit of acting and a little bit of modeling, and I went out to LA for like a week and met some people, did some jobs, and I always romanticized LA, really, right? Like Hollywood, because one of my goals is to be in media, whether it's commercials, shows, movies. I think it's super, super fun, and to just like lose myself in a character is just dope to me. So I want to continue to do that. So I went out to LA, and I wanted to move there, and I went out there really because I had some jobs to do, but I was like kind of entertaining the idea of moving. And I quickly realized while I was there that it's just not for me. Like, if anything, New York is where I'm trying to go. It just sits with my soul a little bit better, where the energy and the community in LA isn't really my vibe. And so when I went out there, met some really cool people, all lovely. I had great experiences, but it just wasn't what I thought it was. I definitely romanticized it. And in that moment, I think I was Delulu, and it did not work out. And probably for reasons that I might not ever understand, but God's way is my only way, so I'll take it. And in that moment, I did not ignore my intuition. So I was just like, you know what? Not for me. Because I was really trying to put a plan together to go out there. And I'm so glad I didn't, truly, because I wouldn't be here in this particular area of Virginia where my family is, and meeting different people, and also having some connections to meeting here. So it worked out. And there's times where it doesn't. But in that moment too, being delusional, if it doesn't work out, it lets you know that you did all you did. So if it didn't work out, it just wasn't for you, right? Where if I didn't try, I would always probably think, man, should I have moved to LA? Should I have started a career there? Because all the jobs are there. But now New York has always been popping. Atlanta is always popping. Chicago is popping now. DC, there's some opportunities here. So Maryland also, which was a shocker to me, but Maryland's also having some opportunities. So I'm glad I stayed put. So, yeah, I'm a Delulu girly through and through. I think even people who might not recognize this, because it's such like a girly pop term now, or slang, that if you're trying to achieve your dreams or goals, you are a Delulu girly. I'm glad I was able to tell you. Congrats. And the other day I saw on Instagram someone talking about what a blessing it is to be exhausted from trying to achieve something that they chose. Like, that is such a blessing in itself. So the fact that I might have bad days or long days or exhausting days is actually really, really a blessing, because it's exhaustion from something that I'm trying to achieve that I chose for my life. And what a privilege and honor it is. I could literally start crying on this podcast if I don't get off. Because really, it's like I'm realizing in real time that a lot of us, even the girlies around me, we're really living in our answered prayers, truly. I'm in this state right now where I'm just reflecting on Firsties and what this brand means and where it's going to go. And it's almost a little scary because, again, I'm a Delulu girly. So what I have in store or what I'm planning is actually wild. And for the people out there who's been listening from day one, we're at like episode 93, 4, 5, something like that. You'll be able to say and be on this journey with us of like you were there from the jump and seen where we've come and where we are now and going. So I am proud to say I'm a Delulu girly now. When I was younger, I thought being realistic sounded so grown and sexy. And it's like, girl, you're just insecure. Girl, you were just scared. And that's okay. But I'm so glad I'm on this side and also so blessed. And I just recognize God's glory and mercy on my life. And the last thing I want to say too is right now I'm just noticing how like HERMELLA is popping off and doing amazing things. And my cousin Ruth is doing amazing things. And I'm seeing my girl Sada and Maya and like all of us content creators. To any content creators out there who are watching this, you understand. It's like, it's just exciting to see your loved ones like shooting for their dreams and like seeing some results. Like, it really is exciting. So, even though being a Delulu girly comes with a lot of work and sometimes heartache, because it's never just like a linear process. There's some ups and downs, a lot of downs, and also some wins, but it's also very, very exciting. And it allows me to also just maintain my relationship in my faith, because literally couldn't do anything without him, truly. We mentioned it before on many podcasts prior, but it's made me a better person to be able to go after my dreams, because when you're working towards something, I don't know, to me, having focus is like the best thing I could do for myself right now. Because it kind of allows me to like quiet out the noise. That could also be something I need to talk to my therapist about. Because I am most happy when I'm the most productive, which is a whole other episode and probably another therapy session, if I'm honest. I should probably get that scheduled. But so let me know in the comments or DMs. We just actually got some DMs of some of y'all are shooting or pitching some episode ideas, which is amazing, but it's like, it's based on specific things of our life. And I like forget that like I'm sharing my life on the podcast and on social media, which literally sometimes I forget because I'm just being myself. It's literally, I just think it's like a FaceTime with you guys sometimes. So thank you for all the love from our last episode. Some of you guys commented the emoji that we asked you to comment if you watch till the end. So that shows me that you're a real one. So for this episode, if you can comment the trophy emoji, that lets us know that you are watching the entire episode, which I appreciate, or listening to the entire episode, which I appreciate, and we will hit you with a follow. So thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember that for everyone out there, your dreams are valid, no matter where you come from. And if you're privileged and lucky enough to be Delulu, honestly. Because right now, we are just on the, working. But I promise you there's going to be a time where people are going to think Firsties is genius or a great idea or anything like that. And so before it becomes genius, it's just someone being Delulu. So shoot for the stars. And always, always, always remember that it is never impossible. It just hasn't been done yet. So hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. And I'll see you in our next episode. Bye, guys.